Hello everyone, today we have new video review, and as you can see, this time we are going to talk about fresh release from CMK. So we have a 148 scale kit here, and it's a Zetor 25 agricultural version in 148 scale, which should be an interesting build for those modders who could not work with the 172nd scale version, because it was released in a smaller size before, and I actually have the box here, so just to remind you, here is the smaller version. We reviewed it as well, so you can find it easily on our YouTube channel, but this time we are talking about 148 scale kit, and kit number is 8062, so I wonder if the bigger scale choice will bring us a bit more features, so that's why I decided to take a closer look. And you can also notice that the box is bigger, so here is comparison with my hand. On the side we will find some information about safety, and here we have information about manufacturer. So this is a top opening box, and here is what we have inside. So we have foam which is protecting all the parts, and that's why maybe I will take it off the table just to take out the parts to make it faster. As far as I can see, there are not that many parts, well, relatively, but it's good that they were protected with the foam. Now I'm going to take out all of these parts and we will start checking them one by one. So first of all, I suggest to start with the road wheels. So here we have them. Let's zoom in. And as you can see, these are one-piece road wheels. So here you can see the tire pattern, which looks really good if camera will focus. Yeah, now you should be able to see. We also have some features on the tire walls, which is also nice. And of course you have to delete this thin flash between the parts, I mean between the spokes, so that you will get the actual finish on your wheels. Now I'm looking at the, let's say, bonnet for this tractor. So here you can see it. It's casted as a single piece part. Frontal plate, as far as I can guess, will be replicated with a separate part, maybe even with some P parts. So that's why it is attached to the resin base with the frontal section. Next we continue with the wheel fenders. So those are molded or casted as a single piece parts. As you can see, they have features from both sides. So it's just a matter of careful separation and also adding them to your build. I think it won't be a difficult task because these parts look really nice, and I think it will be easy to get them in the proper shape. Next, we continue with the drivetrain. So here we have an engine, and as you can see, it is also casted as a single piece part. I guess assembly manual will also show us how to add more features to this element or to this part of the tractor, but it's really nice looking thing, and I hope it will be easy to assemble as well. Next, we have the rear section of the tractor. So whole assembly should be quite modular. So as you can see here, we have the wheel axle together with the floor panel and also with the gearbox, as far as you can see. So everything looks really good, and it should be just connected with the frontal section. Next, we have the frontal radiator grille. So here it is. And yes, that's exactly what I was talking about. This part will have to be attached here. And that's why maybe I will place it here just to remind you. Next, we continue with the small parts. So here I can see various minor elements for the engine compartment. And I have to say that the casting quality looks nice, but you can also notice their size in comparison with my fingertips. So that's something to keep in your mind. Next, we continue with more small parts. Here you can actually see the steering wheel. Of course, for the steering wheel, we have to remove the resin flash so that it will look more or less like a real part. Next, we have also the smaller frontal wheels, and I'm just checking it closer, because it is quite surprising that here on the front wheels we do not have any features on the tire walls. I wonder why. As you can see, the tire pattern looks quite fine, and here you can check them from the opposite side, but again, no features on the tire walls. Really interesting. Next, we continue with minor parts again for the suspension and for the engine compartment. everything looks fine, so it's just a matter of careful separation. We also have some parts for the rear wheels. I guess these ones will be installed from the front of the wheel rim, because it should be actually closed wheel rim, not the one we have here. So that's actually the cover which is placed on the top. And next we continue with the driver's seat. Here we have quite an interesting thing, because driver's seat is casted as a single piece part together with the leg, let's say, or with the stand where it will be affixed. So it's just a matter of careful separation. Be careful with it, because the stand is quite thin. Next, we continue with the exhaust tube. This one I will just put it here because it's nothing special, it's just a tube. The same applies to this engine piping. Here we have the wheel axle, as far as I can guess. So it's also casted as a single piece part. Next, we continue with more thin parts. I guess these are some control elements. And also here we have more of various thin piping for the engine compartment. Here are more of the small parts. Maybe I'll zoom out so that you can see that there are actually more parts. Here, for example, we have another portion of the tiny parts. And one more resin stand, again with some parts for the engine. So here are those parts. And of course we also get the clear parts. Those will be handy for the headlamps, as you can guess. So they are completely clear, and that's why you have to think through how to properly paint them. It means first it will have to be chrome layer, and then it will have to be a layer in the color of the tractor. Here it's just a black color, but I remember that in some military versions it was painted into the camouflage color, obviously. So that's all for the resin parts. All of this stuff which you can see now on the table, it will be actually used in the tractor assembly, so that's something to be ready for. But that's not all, because there are some fine features which you cannot copy with the resin parts, and that's why I'm laughing, because there are some tiny PE parts here. As you can see, it's unpainted PE fret, but still it will be handy for really interesting details on your tractor. So just be careful while separating these parts and you'll be good to go. And of course, this is a typical CMK product, so there is nothing to be worried about in terms of quality. Next, we have also decal sheet. So here it is. We have mainly all the necessary writings for the tractor. Printing quality looks good. As you can see, it's quite thin. So I think this will not cause you any issues. And next, we continue with assembly manual. I'm not sure why it was packed into plastic bag. Well, maybe it was packed into a separate plastic bag in order to ensure the protection of the PE parts, because it's actually folded like that. So as you can see, it's quite thick, and that's why the PE fret will not be bent. But what do we have here is the tiny brochure, color printed. Maybe I'll zoom out even more so that you can see. And here on the first page, we do not have any history note. We have only parts map, and also here we have some advices for the assembly process. And if I open it, here we have all the necessary assembly steps. So yes, in total it's only 7 assembly steps, but obviously each step involves a lot of parts. So pay attention on how it will be actually assembled all together, because it will also require some advanced planning on how you paint this model, as well as you can see here, we engage or install the metal wire in order to replicate some thin parts. So that's also something to consider. And I do not see the thickness of the metal wire. Just give me a second, I'll check it here. No, it's not written even on the parts map. So I guess it will be 0.2 or 0.3, so keep it in mind. Also here we have the first marking guide for the blue tractor, but you can also assemble the red tractor just like on the box art. And of course here we have the small ad for some other CMK kits, which we reviewed as well. So this kit should be already available, and you can get it on official CMK or special hobby website. Of course, I will be happy to hear your opinion about this release. Do not forget to write it here in the comment section below, and if you like this video, press the like button because it helps us greatly. And of course, you can subscribe to YouTube channel, which will help even more. And I will see you in the next video review as usual. Thank you for joining me today, and bye.